Sound on crank, AC on the tweet, so you know I'm rolling windows down, yo. Yeah, on plug, rolling, keep it on the watch for these laws, cause you know they clocking for the fumble of broke, boy. Tryna make it out, each other got hope for the Lord, keep me out of trouble, harder enough. Only straight and narrow, but nigga ain't tryna fumble like some bitch. But I swear I'm down for the rumble, just a boy with dreams like a dope boy. Life can be a bitch, sometimes like oh boy. But I rock around like 6'5" and they be real niggas stand 10 toes in. I try to destroy. Pride comes before the fall. Watch the heavens of trees, boy. A way to get sick, but tell me how can you enjoy? You never beat the noise, shit is on like a bus, boy. The last shot we person, I'm triple you the McCoy in this furnace of what shit she ain't tripping off these decoys. I see no show, no these boys. Move like Bruce Lee, boy. Call me boy, and I'll destroy. Ego, yeah, you do this, I'll enjoy. Like zebra cakes to a fat boy. Sound on crank, AC on the tweet, so you know I'm rolling windows down, yo. Yeah, on plug, rolling, keep it on the watch for these laws, cause you know they clocking for the fumble of broke, boy. Tryna make it out, each other got hope for the Lord, keep me out of trouble, harder enough. Only straight and narrow, but nigga ain't tryna fumble like some bitch. But I swear I'm down for the rumble, keep it pushing when you taking L's all the time. Hold your lights on the line, all you gotta do is grind. Baby boy, keep it pushing in the all-coming time. Don't sweat these haters on your line, and every dozen there's a dime. So know all these hoes come with shine. Everyone, true, there's another one for show on the horizon line. Daddy just progressing me, mama on the knees praying. Cause I'm in these streets like sesame, no felonies. Though I was surrounded by people in dichotomy, do the poor decision based off of this economy. Don't feel you on the break, cause you do the me. These crackers got blacks and Hispanics in autonomy. Just follow me. Sound on crank, AC on the tweet, so you know I'm rolling windows down, yo. Yeah, on plug, rolling, keep it on the watch for these laws, cause you know they clocking for the fumble of broke, boy. Tryna make it out, each other got hope for the Lord, keep me out of trouble, harder enough. Only straight and narrow, but nigga ain't tryna fumble like some bitch. But I swear I'm down for the rumble.
Right, this is the Israelite School University College. Started in 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding during YAHANNA. You understand? It's Monday. You know what I'm saying? Scripture breakdown class. We'll be getting into the hidden mysteries. You know what I'm saying? If you have any questions, anything, make sure you type them in the comment section on Facebook and on YouTube. Do we have any questions in the classroom right now? I think Dwar Yadi has some questions. Pass him the mic if you could.
Right, if I may, sir. I wanted some precepts on how Christ came to show the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law, sir, if I may.
No sweat. We gonna start at no, that ain't right. What you wrote on the board. Give me Matthew chapter 22. Let me go there with you. Let's see. Matthew blah 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 blah. Matthew chapter 22. Let's see, 29. Let's see where 29 at. Okay, start at Pharisees to counsel how they maintain. Start at verse 15.
The book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
Then went the Pharisees and took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk.
Okay.
And they sent out unto him their disciples with the Herodians, saying, Master, we know that thou art true, and teachest the way of God in truth. Neither carest thou for any man, for thou regardest not the person of men.
Okay, so they know that Christ is not a respecter of person, correct? All right, keep reading.
Tell us therefore, Book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 17. Tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute to Caesar?
To Caesar.
Caesar? Or not?
You said, is it lawful to read that again?
Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not?
Okay. All right. Hold on 1 second. You said, is it all right? So all right, keep reading, verse 18.
But Jesus perceived their wickedness and said, Why tempt ye me, ye hypocrites? Show me the tribute money.
Okay, so first and foremost, what you got to understand is, right, so these Pharisees and Sadducees, right, were charged over Israel, okay? So they knew the letter of the law. They knew if you did this, this was going to happen, right? Okay, so they knew that we were under rulership of Caesar, right? That you had to follow the law of the land, right? So they were trying to catch Christ up to say, nah, we don't follow Caesar. We follow the Lord. But what they don't understand is that if you follow the Lord, that you won't break any type of law in any country. You know what I'm saying? Because the commonality of law is based off of the premise of our people. You know, you shouldn't steal, you shouldn't kill, you know what I'm saying? You shouldn't sleep with your brother's wife, you know what I'm saying? Things of that nature, right? Okay, keep reading.
Chapter 22, verse 19. Show me the tribute money.
Show you the what?
Show me the tribute money.
So this is the money that's meant to go unto Caesar. He said, show me the tribute money. Go ahead.
And they brought unto him a penny. And he said unto them, Whose is this image and superscription?
It's subscription.
They say unto him, Caesar's. Then saith he unto them, Render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's.
Okay, so what does that mean? Dewari, I'll break that down. Because, I mean, everything belonged to the Lord, but he said, render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and then render unto the Lord what belongs to the Lord. What does that mean?
Salaki, if I may, sir, basically that the tribute belongs to the Lord.
He said, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto the Lord God, and unto God the things that are God's. What does that mean?
Is this referring to
what belongs to God? Let's start there. Yes, but that's not what I'm looking for. There is something that belongs. So he's saying render. We're talking about Israel, right? Okay. All right. What do we keep?
The commandments.
The commandments. All right, so I want you to think about the commandments. What do you render unto the Lord that belongs to the Lord? What is a commandment of the Lord that you are supposed to render unto him that belongs unto him? Dwariala.
Is this referring to tithes, sir?
Right, which is what?
Which is 10%.
10% of what?
Of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you.
Right, of all thine increase, right? So you render unto the Lord what belongs to the Lord. So the 10% of your first fruit of all of the land you give unto the Lord. Then he says, render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar. What is that? What come out of your check every time you get paid?
Taxes.
Taxes. Right? So you give the Lord what belongs to the Lord, and whatever taxes that's required of the land, you give to the land. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like the spirit of the law is uncomplicating things, right? So people that's caught up in Christianity, like they can't understand how a man can have more than one wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot. I mean, when you look at nature, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all throughout nature. So I understand how you can understand this, how the Lord designed everything. You know what I'm saying? They can't understand how you can't eat shrimp, crab, and lobster. You know what I'm saying? Everything on the face of the earth has a diet that it's supposed to eat, and it sticks to it. Like, it's hardwired in them, right? Okay? In all of nature, there's segregation, right? You don't see, even though lions, tigers, leopards, and panthers, they're all felines, right? But you don't see lions mating with tigers, right? You don't see panthers mating with leopards or cheetahs, right? You don't see polar bears mating with grizzly bears, but they from the same species, right? Because everything is set up to where you have to follow what the Lord has ordained and set up. You understand what I'm saying? Right? So this is the spirit of the law. You have to uncomplicate things. You understand? All right? So keep reading. We had Matthew 22:22. Read what you got.
When they had heard these words, they marveled.
You want to know why they marveled? Because they can't fathom how simplistic it is. Because they thought they was gonna catch him up. Because everything, like he said, like everything belongs to the Lord, right? We just give it all to the Lord. But the Lord only required 10% of your increase, right? Okay. So from that, all right, he said, okay, so we're in captivity. You know what I'm saying? We were in our own land. All we would have to do is what is required of the Lord for us to give. That's all we're required to do. But because we are sojourners in someone else's land that's ruling over us, we do what the Lord requires us to give, and then we require what the law of the land or the sojourners require us to give. And anything left, the Lord is going to bless. You understand? So they were marveled at how simplistic this was, because they were trying to trip him up. You understand? And while he looking this up, give me cast the first stone. All right, keep reading.
They marveled and left him and went their way. The same day came to him the Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection, right? And asked.
Okay, so you have those that believe. So now you had a faction that believe, you know what I'm saying, that we supposed to do what the world says. You know what I'm saying? You had a faction that knew, because the law said we supposed to give what's under God. You know what I'm saying? And everything belongs unto the Lord. Because this is all to confound Christ so they can kill him. Right? Okay? So they erred not knowing the spirit of the law. So this is Christ sunning these niggas. You know what I'm saying? You think that you know something that you don't. You know what I'm saying? That's why Christ had the truth, right? And when you come into the truth and you come out of the world, you think that you have some knowledge and that you have some education, right? But you need to throw everything that you think that you know away, because what we thought that we knew is what has Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in the condition that we're in today, right? No sweat. Keep reading. Matthew 22 and 23.
The same day, the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 23.
Mm-hmm.
The same day came to him the Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection,
mm-hmm.
and asked him, saying, Master, Moses said, if a man die having no children, his brother shall marry his wife and raise up seed unto his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Now there were with us 7 brethren,
mm-hmm.
and the first, when he had married a wife, deceased.
Mm-hmm. He died. Okay, so the first brother, he took a wife, right? You understand? And he died. He didn't have no children, right? So a law in Israel is if a man dies with no children, his brother, right, is supposed to take on his wife and give her seed unto his household, right? Because they are of the same family. You understand what I'm saying? All right. So he took a wife, the brother died, he had no kids. All right. Now keep reading. 25.
Verse 25. Now there were with us 7 brethren,
mm-hmm.
and the first, when he had married a wife, deceased,
mm-hmm.
and having no issue, left his wife unto his brother.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise the second also, and the third unto the 7th.
Okay, so you can, so you can call it the ill nana, because every brother that hop in the box died without having a child. You know what I'm saying? All the way down to the 7th. So that they're basically setting this up to try and confound the Lord. So basically, this is like Stomp the DJ. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Well, he got the one breaking down the tithes. You know what I'm saying? And the taxes unto the land. I got him. Let's see if he can get this, because we don't believe in reincarnation, right? But he out here preaching reincarnation, the regeneration. Let's see if he can get this. Read.
And last of all the women died also.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be of the 7?
Mm-hmm.
For they all had her.
All right. So this is a Christian question. And this is the reason why it's a Christian question. Read verse 23 again. The same day.
The same day came to him the Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection, and asked him.
So if you don't believe in resurrection, what's the point you asking me this question anyway? You don't even believe, right? So why are you asking me something that you don't even believe in anyway? You understand what I'm saying? There's no edification in this, right? You're asking me something strictly for the spirit of confusion, because this is why Christ always answered in parables. Because even if I told you the truth, you're not going to believe it anyway, right? You understand? So already off top, they don't believe in what they're asking, but they're going to ask the question anyway, so they can trip him up, so they can kill him. You understand? Which is, first and foremost, is not brotherhood. You understand? Like, the second greatest law is likened unto the first. To love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy mind and with all thy soul. The second is likened unto it. To love thy brother as thyself. You understand? Christ was a kinsman according to the flesh. He was an Israelite. But they sought in their mind premeditated murder to kill Christ. So they didn't have the spirit of brotherhood. You understand what I'm saying? Keep reading.
Saying, Master, Moses said...
Slaki, you drop back down to where you were at verse 28.
Oh, I'm sorry. Therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife shall be of the 7. For they all had her.
This the greatest answer in life. Verse 29.
Jesus answered and said unto them, Ye do err.
Ye do what?
Ye do err.
Ye do what?
Ye do err.
Ye do what?
Ye do err.
You understand? Brother, you think you know something when you don't. You understand? You speaking on something that you have no knowledge of in the first place. You don't even believe in it. You understand? But let me break you up real quick. You understand? Read.
Not knowing the scriptures.
Not knowing the what?
Not knowing the scriptures.
Because they think, because they know the letter of the law, they know the scripture. You know what I'm saying? But they don't know the reason behind which the scripture was written. Right? You're not supposed to eat shrimp, crab, and lobster. Why? Anybody answer? Raise your hand. Why are you not supposed to eat shrimp, crab, and lobster? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because they're scavengers of the sea.
Is that why you're not supposed to eat shrimp, crab, and lobster? Let me get another answer. Why y'all? Go ahead. Give him the mic.
It's like, if I may, because they will kill you. It's a commandment not to eat them, and they clean the sea.
All right, let's make it practical. They'll do what?
They clean the ocean.
No.
Oh, they will kill you.
They'll kill you.
They'll kill you.
Right? So the Most High in His wisdom knew if you partook of these things, it would do what?
Kill you.
Right. So He told you, don't eat these things. It's not your daddy in his house saying, hey, see that liquor in that cabinet? Don't drink my liquor. Right? You know what I'm saying? You don't need to be drinking liquor. So why is your father telling you not to drink the liquor in the cabinet in his house? Anybody? Same response.
Because it will kill you.
It'll kill you. You know what I'm saying? You a goddamn child trying to drink strong. You will die. You remember the first time you took a sip out of your daddy cup, you thought it was some juice, and it was big. Like, you damn near died. You coughed up a lung. You understand? So there's a reason for these things, right? There's a spirit behind the reason why the Lord is telling you not to do these things. There's a spirit behind why the Lord is telling you not to eat shrimp, crab, and lobster. There's a spirit behind why the Lord is not telling you to follow these unholy pagan feast days, right? It's all for your benefit. So what?
So you don't die.
So you don't die. Get that brother hand. You understand? Get that brother hand. Okay? Keep reading, now.
The book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 29.
No, you at verse 30.
Oh, verse 30, sorry.
Oh, no. The last part of 29 where it says, know the power of God.
Ye do err, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of God.
Verse 30.
For in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of God in heaven.
What does this mean? Anybody? Does anybody know what this means? Get the mic, sis.
Okay, the angels of God in heaven is the 7 or is not?
Say it one more time.
The 7.
What do you mean by the 7?
What come up to my head is the 7 where he was talking earlier about. So I can't remember. Oh no, I don't know.
No sweat. Duar Yala.
So, like, if I may, sir, it's saying that you're gonna be a baby, so you're not having sex.
Okay, Most High in Christ, get that brother hand. All right, so what this means is, right, so you're gonna be like the angels in heaven, right? What do the angels in heaven do? Hold what you got. I know you got the answer. What do the angels in heaven do? Sister got a hand up. What do the angels in heaven do?
They guard, protect.
They do what?
Protect.
Okay, so in order for you to protect something, what do you have to have or know? You gotta know what to protect, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so how do you know what to protect?
They take orders.
They get us to hand. You know what I'm saying? They take orders, right? And they follow these orders without question, like a what? Well, the scriptures you just read.
Like a angel.
Like an angel, but an angel that just follows orders and does things unequivocally. What is something else that does those things in real life?
A wife.
That too, but a baby.
Oh, baby.
Right? You understand?
Yes, sir.
Because a baby doesn't have the mental faculty, right, to know rhyme or reason or why things are the way they are in this world, right? You're gonna eat what I tell you to eat because you don't know no better what to eat, right? You don't know your foot from your a-hole. You put your foot in your mouth, your fingers in your mouth, anything you can put your hands on, you put in your mouth. Smack your hand, get that out your mouth. Don't you eat off the damn floor. You know what I'm saying? You don't know no better. So you follow orders just like the angels in heaven, right? Yes, so when a child is born, it's a dang on child. He don't know his genitalia from his elbow. Okay? He just know, I just pooted. You know what I'm saying? He just released something. He don't even know what it is. Okay? Yes. Right? So you are learning these things, right? You have to be re-taught all over again. So the reason why she's not nobody's wife is because when you a child, you don't know nothing about sex. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know what your eyeball is. You know what I'm saying? You don't know how to walk. You don't know how to talk. You understand? Lo and behold, the responsibilities and the woes and conditions of this world. So you're not even worried about that. So that's why Christ said, you do err not knowing the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be reincarnated just like Elijah was. Who was Elijah? Who was Elijah reincarnated as? Do you know?
No, sir.
Sis? Do you know who Elijah was reincarnated as in the New Testament? Who are y'all? John who? Most High in Christ. Say what he said on the mic so people can hear.
John the Baptist.
John the Baptist. You're going to be birthed the same way Elijah was rebirthed back into this earth. John the Baptist. You're going to be rebirthed the same way that Adam, that Isaac, that Melchizedek, that Solomon was birthed back into this earth through a woman. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be a baby over and over again. Christians have this mindset when the Lord comes, you're gonna be caught up in the air. You're gonna be transfigured. You're gonna get this brand new body. You're gonna be walking around the earth in a golden body. You know what I'm saying? In city of gold, your light gonna be shining from behind you at all times. But that's not what it means. You know what I'm saying? To get a new glorified body is to be reborn, to be reset. You get a new body as a baby. Your spirit lives on. You know what I'm saying? It's like your soul lives on. Your spirit that you have comes from the Lord. Either you have a spirit of this world or you have a spirit of the Lord. You understand? That's why Christ said, you err not knowing the scriptures. See, you know the letter of the law, right? And you have a carnal mind trying to break down scripture. But if you truly knew the scriptures, you know when you come back, you're going to be just like everybody else that's born in this earth, a damn baby. You understand what I'm saying? All right, keep reading, Doc.
The book of Matthew, chapter 29, verse 30.
31.
31, Slakia. But as touching the resurrection of the dead, have ye not read that which has spoken unto you by God, saying, I am the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living.
You understand? Why is he saying God is a God of God is not the God of the dead, but the God of the living? What does that mean? Anybody? All right, take a shot.
When he says God of the dead, like when you say pretend to like he knows how to do the right things, like follow the commands, and he's pure. Like, well,
Okay, so just make it practical. He said, God is not the God of the dead, but the God of the living. Dwariala, give me okay, no sweat. Give me there is no knowledge in the grave. I think that's in Ecclesiastes, right? Okay, so when it says God is not the God of the dead, but the God of the living, right? Okay, so give the mic back to the sister, all right? So how can you keep the law, statutes, and commandments in the grave?
in the grave?
Yeah, dead. How can you keep the law, statutes, and commandments? Can you keep the law, statutes, and
No, you
commandments
can't
dead?
because you're dead.
You can't. All right. How can you keep
but you're not alive, so
How can you keep the high holy days if you're dead?
right. So you can't.
Right. Okay. So that means the law, statutes, and commandments are given unto who?
The people.
What you say, brother? Say it on the mic.
The living.
Right. Okay. Because God is a God of the living, because these commandments that he gives you so that you can live a life and live it more abundantly and have longevity of life, right? There is no life in the grave. There is no redemption in the grave. There is no glory in the grave, right? You can't take any riches to the grave, right? That's why Solomon said, vanity is vanity, all is vanity. Everything is vanity under the sun, right? Because what worth it is it to build a kingdom, you understand, and leave it unto a fool? Because you don't know if your son will be either foolish or wise with the inheritance and the lot in which that you've given him. You understand? So these are all vexations of spirit, right? Because you spent your whole life building up this amalgamation of wealth to leave it to someone that you don't know if it's either going to be wise with it or foolish with it. But in the grave, there's no remembrance of former things. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
All right, no sweat. Hey, Dwariala, what scripture in John you holding? Dwariala, no sweat. Give me while he doing that. All right, we gonna get into the basis of the lesson, because I know he got it. Sis, you have any questions? All right, go ahead.
So they were talking about the 7 brothers, but that's the 7.
No, okay. So the original question was the spirit of Christ, right? So Christ came. All right. So you have people that were teaching the letter of the law, right? The Sadducees and the Pharisees and the Sadducees, right? And Christ was coming to teach the spirit of the law. So he was asking the differentiation of knowing what is of the spirit, you know what I'm saying, and what isn't of the spirit. How you know, like, you're dealing with the letter of the law or the spirit of the law, right? So I gave an example of how someone came to him with a question that was of the law, right? So one of them, analogy that was given, if a sister was married to a brother, right? Because one of the laws is if a brother dies without children, right, his wife is supposed to be given unto his brother to give children in his state under his line, because they come from the same lineage, right? So he had 7 brothers. Each brother died without giving this sister children, and then the sister died herself. Then the question was, in the regeneration, in the resurrection, whose wife is this? Because all of them had her, right? And he said, you do error not knowing the scriptures, that when you are resurrected, you are like the angels in heaven. See, Christians like to believe this scripture means when we are in the kingdom, ain't gonna be no husbands and wives. You know what I'm saying? We just all just gonna be singing old Negro spirituals and hymns unto the Lord in heaven all the time, 24/7. That's not what's gonna happen. You understand? So that's where we were, and that's what we were breaking down. So do you have a question?
Does this pertain also to like the 7 angels in Revelation? Because I know there was.
Which 7 angels? Do you have the scripture?
See, so I think I have to look.
No sweat. Go ahead, look it up. Hey, what the scripture you was holding, John? What was it? Yes. Yeah, give me John chapter 8 verse 7. Okay, so we dealing with the brother's question was dealing with the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law, right? So this is what Christ came to bring. So we no sweat, hold that. Matter of fact, give me that first. What was Ecclesiastes? What? You read it. The Warrior. All right, you keep going. Go to the scripture in John. He gonna read Ecclesiastes, right? What was it, John? All right, no sweat. John 8 and 7. Okay, so this is what you gotta understand, right? So God is a God of the living, right? There is no life of the law in death, right? Which is what Christ was trying to teach them. You understand? So like, okay, so if all right, so Christ said he only came to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Who were the lost sheep of the house of Israel? Did they know that they were Israelites? Right? Just like niggas, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You know what I'm saying? They don't know that they Israelites, right? So they following the law of the land. So they eating shrimp, crab, pork, lobster. You know what I'm saying? They keeping Halloween, Christmas, Memorial Day, Thanksgiving. You understand? So they following the law of the land, right? So, but Christ came to teach the spirit of the law to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So let's just say, sis, what's your name? Janice. So let's just say Janice comes into the knowledge that she's an Israelite, right? But she's like, you know what? I've been eating shrimp, crab, and lobster. I've been smoking weed. You know what I'm saying? I was celebrating Halloween, Christmas. You know, we just up here like, yeah, sis. You know, I mean, that's wonderful. That's awesome. You know what I'm saying? But while she talking, you know what I'm saying? I turn to the Warrior, like, hey, the Warrior, you free around 5 o'clock? And he be like, Con, you know what we gonna do? We gonna stone her. We gonna kill her. You understand? Because what's the wage of sin? The Warrior?
It's like, if I may, sir, death.
Death, right? That is the wages of sin, right? But how is a sister able to learn?
It's like, sir, through the spirit of the law.
Right, but can she learn in death?
Laws.
Right? That's why it says God is a God of the living. You know what I'm saying? So this is what Christ was teaching. He was teaching the spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood. You got it? Go ahead, read.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave, whither thou goest.
Hold on, say, brother, break that down. Let's read that a little bit more slowly. All right?
Count on, sir.
All right, no sweat. That's a handful right there, boy. Go ahead.
Count on. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 10.
Uh-huh.
Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do.
Okay, so what do you do with your hands? Work. Say it again. Work. The brother said what you do with your hands, you work with your hands, right? So whatever you findeth, so do. Read.
For there is no work.
There is no what?
There is no work.
Uh-huh.
Nor device.
So there's no work, all right, or there is no infrastructure to do your work, right? Read.
Nor knowledge.
Okay. Nor knowledge you can obtain to do the work. Read.
Nor wisdom.
Nor wisdom that you can ascertain after working whatever that you're doing with your hands or that you're doing over a while, shortcuts, you know what I'm saying, or the best possible way, you understand? You know what I'm saying? Because we work smarter, not harder. Read.
In the grave.
Where?
In the grave.
Where?
In the grave.
You understand? There's no wisdom in the grave. How can you learn something in death? Right? How can you change in death? You understand? How can you be a new creation in death? Right? If I judge you right now for what you did in the world, ignorant of who you are, how can you be who you're supposed to be in death? You understand? The cycle continues, it perpetuates. You understand? The curses continue to perpetuate because you have not learned, right? But what the spirit of the law allows you to do is it allows you to learn from the foreknowledge of your ancestors. It allows you to change, right? But once you know better, there's no more remission of sins. You know what I'm saying? For your transgression. Now it's judgment. Now you're gonna reap the punishments. The Lord gonna deal with you because you know better, right? You had mercy beforehand. Now, because you know better, the Lord gonna deal with you. Like prime example, right? Like if you a child, right? Okay, you don't know if you boo-boo in your pants, you know, you make a mess of yourself, you don't wipe your butt, you end up getting a rash. Okay, you don't know no better. So you know when you boo-booed in your diaper, your parents wiped your butt, cleaned you up, gave you a new pamper, new clothes, if you peed on yourself, you know what I'm saying? Because you didn't know no better, right? Okay, so now after you've been potty trained and you boo-boo and you pee-pee on yourself, what your parents gonna do? They're gonna whoop your butt. You wanna know why? Because you know better. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna keep buying new drawers because you just want to doo-doo in your drawers. You want to soil yourself, right? You know better, right? Okay. When you was a child, your parents told you, don't lie. Okay. You know, don't take what's not yours. That's not your toy. You play with your toy. If you want to play with that toy, you ask that person who the toy belongs to, can you play with it? You just don't take it, right? Now, when you get older, right, and you take something that belongs to someone else and you get in trouble, what's going to happen? Y'all?
You gonna get hurt.
You gonna get your ass whooped. Okay? Your Father in heaven is supposed to be, and we're gonna get into it. That's another one of the brother's questions, right, about rank and order. As above, so below. You understand? Just like you have a father in heaven, you have a father on this earth, you have a biological father that you were born under. He has rules in his household. What happens when you break the rules in that household? Y'all?
You receive the punishment, son.
Get your ass whooped. Salaki. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I got a precept for what you're saying, sir.
Go ahead.
Hebrews 10 and 26.
Oh, bring it out, brother. Salaki.
It's the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 26. For if we sin willfully.
Oh, so if we do what?
For if we sin willfully.
How do you sin willfully?
Doing something you know you're not supposed to be doing, even though.
What's the key word there? Doing something that what?
You know you're not supposed to be doing.
So you know what you're doing is wrong, right?
Sir.
So if you sin knowing that you're not supposed to be eating shrimp, crab, pork, lobster, if you sin knowing you're not supposed to be at these birthday parties, if you sin knowing you're not supposed to be celebrating Thanksgiving, especially it's a holiday expressing the mass murder of your people.
Right.
If you sin willfully knowing that you're not supposed to celebrate Christmas, which is a Babylonian custom, if you sin willfully celebrating Memorial Day, you know what I'm saying, 4th of July, all of these, what do you have independence from? When in 1776, when this country got its independence, you was in the field getting your back broke, your women was getting raped, Your children was used as alligator bait. You were getting castrated, buck broken. You understand? You was a slave picking your till for the day, picking cotton, corn, or sugar cane, or whatever they had you to pick. What do you have to know that sinning willfully, these are the things that will propagate and that will happen unto you? You understand? You understand? Like, you celebrating these holidays, these holy days, eating these diets of things that's called a delicacy in these nations, these things, when you didn't know, the Lord humored you in your hubris and your ignorance. That means the pride of your ignorance. You know what I'm saying? The Lord had mercy upon you. But when you know better, when you sin willfully, read the Waryala.
Come. For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge.
After you did what?
Have received the knowledge.
You know your culture. You know the law, statutes, and commandments. You know your high holy days. Read.
After that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins.
You know what I'm saying? It's open season, right? You know what I'm saying? Or in the words of my daddy in the world, that's your behind. You know what I'm saying? I'll see you when you get home. You know what I'm saying? Or another bad news gonna beat you home. You understand what I'm saying? All right. All right. So what we was going to?
John 8:7.
All right, don't sweat. Go ahead, read that so we can move to the next question.
The book of John, chapter 8.
Hey, and look online if any brother and sister have any questions on Facebook and on YouTube. Go ahead, brother.
The book of John, chapter 8, verse 7.
Okay.
So when they continued asking him, he
hold on, let me go there with you. You at John chapter 8. You said verse 7?
Con, sir.
Go ahead, read.
So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them.
No, started verse 2.
Con, sir. The book of John, chapter 8, verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
And early in the morning, he came again into the temple, and all of the people came unto him, and he sat down and taught them. And the scribes and Pharisees brought on to him a woman taken in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery.
What is adultery?
Sleeping with another man's wife.
But what is it?
A sin.
It's a sin. What is sin? No sweat.
It is
what is sin?
Against the law of
Okay, sin is transgression of the law. All right, and based on what we went over earlier, what is the wage of sin?
Death.
Right. Okay. So now you have a precedent of what they trying to set up Christ to do. Okay. All right. So this sister is committed. She's caught in the act of adultery. Right. So let me ask you a question. Why they bringing the sister and not the dude that was caught in the act of adultery?
So it would be harder for Christ to deal with it?
Practically. All right. So a man then came home and saw his wife getting bent over and prodded by another man. Okay. They having sex. Okay. Adultery is a man sleeping with another man's wife and a woman sleeping with another man other than her husband. All right. So in this scripture, they only brought the woman, right, to Christ for committing adultery. Why didn't they bring the man?
I don't know, sir.
Since you want to take a stab at it?
Easier for them to bring the woman in instead of the man?
Dwaria, you want to take a stab at it?
So, like, sir, if I may, is it because they was mad that it wasn't them?
The nigga was dead. The nigga was dead. If I come home and I see another man sleeping with my wife, he dead. It's over. He was dead. He was gone. He was knocked off. All right? You understand? And the brother was like, I done caught my wife sleeping with this nigga. I'm slack you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like here. It's just like in the law. It's a crime of passion. You know what I'm saying? I have every right to kill him. You know what I'm saying? But it's a catch-22, right? It's supposed to be a tribunal. You're supposed to bring him before the Levitical priesthood for the matter to be heard, right? And then the Levitical priest is supposed to cast judgment. You understand? And then they're supposed to be sentenced to death. Both of them, right? Okay? So evidently, the brother's dead. Okay? So they bring in the sister to Christ. He's like, wait. Before we kill the sister, let's try and confound Christ so we can catch him up, because if he speaks against the law, we can kill him too. You understand what I'm saying? Read. It's cold, brother. It's the coldest one right here. Go ahead, keep reading.
They say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery, in the very act.
Didn't I just say that? She was caught in the very act of getting knocked over by another man that wasn't her husband. Okay, the nigga gone. He dead. Right? He out of there. Keep reading.
Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what sayest thou?
Mm-hmm.
They said.
So now they saying, I mean, the law of Moses say we supposed to kill her. You know what I'm saying? But what sayest you, Lord? But this is the thing. Why they ain't ask him about the dude? What the dude at? The dude dead, right? He ain't there. He dead. He gone. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing about resurrection. They didn't believe in the resurrection, but they was asking the question just to confound Christ to kill him. Right? No brotherhood. Right? Because the second law is likened unto the first, to love thy brother as thyself. You know what I'm saying? You want somebody to rob you?
No, sir.
So why would you rob somebody else? You want somebody to have sex with your wife?
No, sir.
So why would you have sex with somebody else's wife? You know what I'm saying? You want somebody that's gonna feed you something that's gonna give you diabetes, high blood pressure, hypertension, or cancer?
No, sir.
So why would you feed that to somebody else? That's brotherhood. That's why when he said the second is likened unto, the Lord is so cold, he can sum up all 613 laws into 2 commandments. Love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy mind and with all thy soul, and to love thy brother as thyself. That's how cold the Lord is. You understand what I'm saying? All right, keep reading.
This they said, tempting him,
Mm-hmm.
that they might have to accuse him.
Mm-hmm.
But Jesus stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground, as though he heard them not.
Okay, so what you think Christ writing on the ground? As they talking to him, like bringing up all the accusations against his sister. You know what I'm saying? He said Christ stooped down as if he heard them not. As they were accusing his sister, like she needs to die. You understand? Did they come to Christ? You know what I'm saying? About the accusation of the brother. Why the brother didn't die? Why they not coming to Christ about killing the brother? You know what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Keep reading.
Verse 7. So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him cast a stone at her.
It says he that is among. It says he that without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her. Why did he say that? Okay, so I'm gonna read it. Okay, so verse 6. This they said, tempting him that they might have to accuse him, but Yahushua stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground as though he heard them not. So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, he that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her. So what's going on? Because she deserves to die.
He was pretty much saying, like, if you're truly better than her, then go ahead and cast the first stone at her.
Make it more practical. I mean, you own it. You right there. Right there.
Like if not so much as better than her, but if you haven't sinned yourself, then you can't judge her for being a sinner.
That's it, right? You can't kill someone. You can't judge someone, right, and sentence them to death, and you eating pork. You can't judge someone and sentence them to death, right, and you eating shrimp, crab, and lobster. You can't sentence someone to death and judge them, because Christians like say, nobody can judge me but God, but that's nowhere in scripture. That's a Tupac line. Okay, Tupac said that. All right, you know what I'm saying? The scripture says, "Cry loud and spare not, and show Israel the error in their ways." You understand? See what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, but judgment is death, right? That's the letter of the law. If you commit adultery, you die. If you eat pork, you die. If you keep a unholy feast day, you die. Okay? That is the letter of the law. Okay? But in order to carry out judgment, to kill somebody, you have to be what? Yes, it's a hand.
Sinless.
You have to be sinless. You have to be perfect. Right? Okay? Right? Whatever person you were in the world, whatever disgusting person, disgusting name you were in the world, you were not perfect. You had to become a new creation in Christ. Right? Okay? Yes, you were not perfect. Right? So you have no right to cast the first stone to kill or judge anybody. Right? That's another parable that Christ said, before you tell a brother to take the plank out of his eye, you know what I'm saying, remove it out of yours first. How can you tell a brother to stop eating pork and you having sex with another brother's wife? You understand what I'm saying? These Pharisees and Sadducees were trying to sentence this woman to death for the same sins that they were doing. Because in the eyes of the Lord, adultery is the same as homosexuality. You understand? Eating pork is the same thing as homosexuality. Okay? The reason why I keep saying homosexuality, because everybody, it's homosexuality. Right? If you smoke weed, in the words of General Muhammad, you might as well blow rod. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? So, if you are not perfect, you cannot sentence someone to death. Only Christ can. And in Christ's perfectness, he even yet still had empathy and compassion for his people. Keep reading. Verse 8.
And again he stooped down and wrote on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience.
Be convicted by what?
By their own conscience.
So that means as he was stooping down and writing down, he's writing down the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt honor thy mother and thy father. You know what I'm saying? Thou shalt not covet thy brother. You know what I'm saying? You feel me? Shouldn't have, like he was writing these things, and as he was writing these things down, they was throwing their stones away because they had all done these things. They had just gotten away with it because they were the executors of judgment of the law, right? They were of a law unto themselves. Go ahead, Doc. What you got a question?
Khan, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean that the woman who was caught being an adulterer, she had no judgment in the end?
Keep reading.
Verse 9. And they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at eldest, even unto the last. Even unto the last. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. When Jesus had lifted up himself and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers? Hath no man condemned thee? She said, No man, Lord. And Jesus said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more.
Go and do what?
Go and sin no more.
Why did Christ tell her to go and sin no more? Because Christ was perfect, right? Why didn't Christ kill her?
Because he gave her a second chance.
You got something you want to say?
He showed mercy.
Okay, you kind of on it. Dwar you got an answer.
So, like, if I may, sir, so that she can be an example of the law, the spirit.
What?
So she can understand the spirit of the law.
Right. Like, if you commit adultery, right, and you ain't know no better, you understand? Because Christ said, I came unto who? Give him the mic up.
To the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
If you a lost sheep of the house of Israel, do you like, let me ask you a question, right? In this world right now, right, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, do they think that it's okay to have casual sex?
Sir.
But does the law say that sex is marriage?
Sir.
All right, no sweat. In this world that we, in this oppression that we live in, do Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans think it's okay to eat shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster? Is it a sin? Right. Okay. In this world that we live in, this oppression that we live in, do Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans keep Christmas, Halloween,